Hold on. Hold on. I have to try to fix this. Okay. I don't know what's going on. This is the second time this has happened, where the mic, I do the test, right? Everything's fine until I hit the start to stream, and then it knocks the mic out. This is really odd. I don't know what this is all about. So, but anyway, as I was saying, I'm glad to see you guys are here. I wanted to share with you that the reason why this topic came about is, I asked for suggestions for this Sunday sermon, which is not religious based at all. So don't get confused. Don't think I'm gonna start, talking about the law and all that. That's not the purpose of this. What it is, though, it's a kind of a lecture series for women that just happens to take place on Sunday. So I call it a Sunday sermon. But we're going to be talking about relationships, and that includes women's relationships with themselves, which is the starting point of this journey. So we're going to talk about that today. It was one of the first uh, topics, suggestions that was submitted when I asked for people's ideas for topics for this series. And I thought about it, and it's like, yeah, because this is the foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation when you build your house, what happens? The first sign of stress, it crumbles. And unfortunately, when you look at love, when we learn to love ourselves, that happens pretty much in childhood. I mean, you can kind of, the phrase is now reparent yourself. You can do that, and we'll be talking about some of those techniques in a minute. But the bottom line is, the people around you that are supposed to be by their designation in your life, parents, grandparents, teachers, spiritual leaders, all these kind of people, grandparents, they're supposed to be loving you and supporting you and encouraging you and treating you well. But when they don't, we have thousands, millions of children who grew up, they don't know how to love themselves because nobody showed them how. No one showed them love. So, or at least consistent, consistent love that they could depend on. It's just, it's just really sad. Thanks you guys for letting me know because I guess I'm gonna have to start checking for that now because it's the second time in 3 weeks that that's happened. So let me go over. We're gonna go through this, and usually I just kind of talk and run my mouth, but I'm really gonna try to stick to this because I put a lot of work into this, and I want to use my work. So let's see. Let's start with point one. What does quote love yourself mean anyway? And really, if you think about everything that you do in your life, all the decisions you make, places you go, the places you don't go, the things you try, the things you don't try, all of those things have to do with your relationship with yourself. So that is the number one relationship that you need to make sure is on point, as we like to say, okay? You need to treat yourself with the consideration, the kindness, and the sensitivity that you would treat anyone else. And I like to use the analogy of a toddler. Okay, little kids, 2, 3 years old, 18 months, this kind of stuff. How do we tend to treat them? When they're crying and upset, we soothe them. When they do something of merit, when they meet some milestone, like take a first step, use the potty by themselves, start talking, whatever it is, we are like, Hercules, Hercules. We give them all kinds of kudos and applause because they've really tried to do something and they have made it. They've been successful at whatever it was they were trying to do. Run, ride a tricycle, big wheel, whatever they have these days. They were trying to do it and they learned how to do it. They mastered it. And when they became good at it, we give them applause and kudos, right? We acknowledge them. Good morning, sweetie. Hello, sweetie. What are you doing? What would you like to eat? Oh, look at you. You know what I mean? We give little kids all this kind of like ego food. But how come y'all don't do that for yourselves? You're not nice to yourselves. If you get hurt, you just want to like blow it off and act like it's no big deal. Don't you think it's good that you might want to take some moment to cuddle yourself and say, "Oh, there." If you need to cry, with babies, we don't stop them from crying. I mean, unless they just crying about nothing. But usually if they're upset or they're in pain or something, we pet them up. We let them cry. Why can't you let yourself cry when you're in pain? And when you do something really good, don't be trying to hide it and act all like you need to be. What's that word that folks like to use? Them church folks like to use. Not modest, humble. Everybody want our black folks, our black women especially, to be humble. Fuck humble. You do you. You be, you got something going on that's really fantabulous. You strut your stuff and you let people know. You have made a success of yourself. You have done whatever it is that you were trying to do. Just like a little kid comes rushing home with that, them little ugly ashtrays we used to make for Father's Day and stuff when father still smoked. I don't know, mine did. And we make these little ugly ashtrays, and he would always act like it was the most beautiful thing in the world. And I saw some of them when I moved out, and those things were hideous. But I thought it was just cute. It's cute how our parents and people who love us will treat us. And I want you guys to treat yourselves like that. Don't think that you have to just shake stuff off and that you have to, soldier through and you have to bear all this pain and you have to be all this strong black woman and all this kind of stuff. Something you're entitled to have a moment and you're entitled to need somebody else to, help you cuddle yourself. If you don't have that person to help you cuddle yourself, then you do it. But it still take the time to pamper yourself and treat yourself really nicely. Talk to yourself nicely. Not this stuff like, oh, you're so stupid. You can't do nothing right. Everything you do is a failure. This and that. And you're giving yourself all of these negative messages instead of positive ones. So you end up, whatever cycle you were in about not really liking yourself much, you're just taking yourself lower and lower and lower and lower. It becomes really sad. Yeah. Yeah, that deal with it thing. I mean, of course you're going to, but still you have to, don't you have a moment to like just kind of absorb the drama that you're facing? You know what I mean? You got to, but at some point, yeah, you will get up. At least we hope so. We'll talk about that, and shake it off, and be like, okay, I've cried, I got it out. I'm okay with that part. Now let me see what I can do about it. You got a little bit different attitude, but don't ever deny yourself acknowledging the pain that you're in or the frustration that you feel, the anger that you feel. Those are valid, and you have to, validate them yourself. Okay. So now, that's what we do to toddlers. So when you think about how we treat the babies, what are we doing? Our thoughts and our feelings towards them show acceptance. It shows positivity, right? Because we want to encourage them. Oh yeah, you took 5 steps, but you fell down. But just get up here. I'll help you up. This kind of thing, right? Do that to yourself. You give them support. You show them appreciation. They bring you some little raggedy flower or something that they stole out the garden that you picked and they killing your plant, but you can't say all that. You just say thank you. This is so pretty, right? You showing appreciation. Appreciate yourself sometimes. And we nurture our kids. We show them kindness, the little babies. We empathize with them. We show them compassion when they're hurt, when they're crying, when they have a diaper rash, when they have an ear infection, right? Don't we do that? And what you basically want to have with the kid is like a rich heart connection. And I want you guys to learn how to do that to yourself. And part of that rich heart connection, you're going to learn to trust yourself. You're going to like who you see in the mirror. You're going to learn to have compassion for her. You're going to learn to support her and encourage her and give her positive affirmations and self-talk. None of this stuff, looking in the mirror, oh, I hate myself. I just, my thighs. My hair. Another one, the colorism thing. So there's a whole bunch of black women that don't like themselves and don't like other black women. Or there's people that think they're too short or they're too tall or their legs are too long or they have tight whatever hair that they don't like and all this stuff. So women have this tendency to just pick themselves apart about everything. So that it's like, at the end of it, it's like, what do you even like about yourself? Because you just went on for 10 minutes telling me why you don't like yourself and all the things you don't like about yourself. It's so unbelievable. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. I should have made this typing bigger. I might have to put my reading glasses on. But anyway, let's move on. So this is what we want to have, what we give to other people, what we think we're going to have is this unconditional feelings of love and appreciation, acceptance, for our partners and the people that we really care about. We want to be there for them in that way. And I want you guys to be there for yourselves in that way. So when we talk about unconditional, I always talk about relationships, that any relationship with someone outside of yourself must have conditions. There's really, only with like our tiny children do we have unconditional love, meaning no matter what they do, we still love them. That's what unconditional means. When you're talking about adults, there you got to have conditions, because you start stealing my money or beating my behind or something. Well, I'm not going to love you anymore. Okay. But a woman who doesn't love herself very much will still continue to love that guy because she feels like he's more deserving of love than she is. So it gets really interesting. Because, when you love yourself, you accept everything about yourself. You accept the fact that you have, maybe some physical things that you don't really like, a funky attitude sometimes. You just have a bad understanding at other times. Whatever is your issue, you need to finish your degree, whatever it is, you don't pick that stuff apart about yourself. You still accept it. Yes, this is all of me. So what? The whole package is lovely, and everything about me is the person that you see today. So, like it or leave it. I don't know what to tell you. So a lot of you, as I pointed out, I noticed this. I noticed this too. You will only want to love yourself when you meet certain conditions that you've set. That means, like, I'll be really feeling good about myself when you're welcome, money woman. I feel good about myself when I lose this 20 pounds. Or, I feel good about myself when I finally get a boyfriend. I feel good about myself when I finally get married. I feel good about myself when I finally get this degree, when I get this job, when I get this promotion, when I get this Lexus, right? You put all these conditions on you loving yourself. So I'm just trying to figure out how that works. And I'm quoting these things. These are things I've heard women actually say. And I'm like, wow, I feel good about myself driving my little bucket. I don't, I'm not trying to have a car note, but I'm going to have to at some point. But you know what I mean? That's kind of stuff, external things don't do anything for me. It just doesn't impact me at all. Now, listen to this. I found this study, right? And it says they started investigating a slightly different type of self love called self compassion. It's an alternative source of positive self feelings that can benefit romantic and non romantic relationships alike. Self compassion involves viewing yourself, including your flaws, with kindness and acceptance and not being overly focused or identified with negative emotions. I thought, wow, that is really interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more because and see exactly how that dovetails in with self esteem and self confidence. And I'll get back to you guys on that. I'm gonna have to look into that. Now, in some families, as I alluded to earlier, you grow up. It's a dysfunctional family. Some of you grew up with no family at all. You grew up in foster care. You pretty much you were in your home with your family, but they were addicts or whatever, and you pretty much had to raise yourself. Or some older siblings, kind of to looked out for you, but they're kids themselves, so they can't really raise you. So you have a void. A lot of you have a void. Even if you had parents in the home, you have them. They were doing stuff like they like to humiliate you. They like to mock you, tease you. They think it's funny, and pick at you about the things that you're sensitive about. Like how skinny you are or how you're tall or too short or something. You know what I mean? Kids feel weird when they compare themselves to the other children in their classroom, and your parents and your family start to pick at you about those kind of things. That's basically bullying. They're bullying you at home. And some of them tease you about your hobbies and your interests and what you like and your friends. I mean, everything, your career choices, the fact that you went to school and got an education, the fact that you didn't go to school and get an education. They want to just mock you and tear you down about anything. And this is the environment that a lot of you have grown up in. Okay? Acknowledge it because that's going to be the first step. You're going to have to look at them people with a raw, unbiased eye and say, yeah, this is what they did and said to me, and I hated it. And as a child, it made me feel like blank. And then you fill all those in. Get all that out. Get it out. Get it out. Just get it out. Because you holding on to that stuff and not wanting to acknowledge it because there's a lot of guilt and feeling angry at your family members, your parents and stuff. No, we get a letters here in the advice column, right? Where they're like their parents are abusive to them emotionally, mentally, psychologically, sometimes physically and financially. And they are just really struggling with cutting ties with these toxic people because they feel like, well, that's my mama, that's my daddy. I'm supposed to love them. Yeah, you are, but they're supposed to love you first because they're the ones that brought you into this world. You didn't ask to come here. When they signed on for that job of being a parent, loving that child and raising it properly and nurturing it and cuddling it and teaching it things was their responsibility. That's why I'm telling y'all. That's why I'm so in favor of abortions. When stupid people get pregnant, they shouldn't have a baby because this is all part of parenting, and you just mess up a whole bunch of kids with all of these bad, these bad parents. Mess up generations of people that carry that stuff forward into their families. It's horrible. When you really look at the damage that these people do, just breeding all willy nilly with no plan, no sense, and no intelligence. I'm going to read the chats later, you guys, because I definitely want to know what you got to say. Anybody wants to get my attention, you better do the @ sign with my name so that big yellow blob will pop up because otherwise I won't see it. And then let's not even talk about the beatings that kids had to endure, right? With razor straps. They start off you with flip flops when you were little. And then they, the switches from the trees and, whatever they can get their hand, telephone cords, extension cords, all kind of stuff. And just be wailing on kids, leaving all kind of bruises and marks on them. Even if it's not a physical mark, it's an emotional and mental mark. You don't ever have to hit your kids more than maybe a little swat on the butt or something like that when they do something seriously dangerous. But these parents just beating on their kids, that's not necessary. That's not necessary. So, that stuff it does damage. It does damage to people in a certain sense. Um, I don't think they really understand the full range of it. Even though people will say, "Well, I grew up all right," I got my little butt beat, and I grew up all right. But then when you really dig down deep inside, they're not all right. They're not all right at all. So let's move on. Um, this is a big question that I had for this section before we go into part 2. When the love you've known has been physically harmful, emotionally painful, and scarring to you psychologically, how do you even love another person? How do you love yourself? So a lot of you will say that you love somebody else, but how do you do that when you don't love yourself and you have all these wounds on your spirit? I'm going to tell you quite honestly, I don't know what those attachments are, but they're not love. Okay? It requires somebody to be whole in order to give of themselves and be in that kind of relationship. And everybody has problems. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you got to be like, Mr. or Miss Perfect here. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is the parts of you that would be needed to draw on to give someone love and support and compassion, all these things that we talked about. If you're not, you don't have those things and you're not showing them to yourself, then how do you feel like you can muster up the knowledge and strength and ability to magically show them to someone else? You just get yourself in a situationship that's going to crash and burn. And that's what we keep seeing on this channel. Yeah, you got to love yourself. You have to. It's more than just a state of mind. Loving yourself, we say the word. It's more than just a state of mind. It's a series of actions. It's attitude, it's behaviors. Okay, and we're gonna be going into that because I want to give you some examples. This was all like, just kind of an overview, but I want to give you some specific examples of some of the things that women do when they don't love themselves, and that's we're to your part 2. I have 16. I'm sure you can think of some more. Keep in mind this is just a show. I'm trying to keep it down to about an hour, but it might be a little longer. I don't know. All right. Now, behaviors of women who do not love themselves. Loving yourself requires time and energy and effort. And if you think you love yourself, but your behavior says otherwise because you do the stuff here, Well, then we got part three where I'm going to go into some ideas for and let you know some things that women do who do love themselves. And you can start making a list of things that you need to do to start showing yourself that you are, that you feel that way about your own self. All right, let's need number one. You feel disconnected from yourself. Now, a lot of people feel kind of, I use the term discombobulated, disjointed. You feel like out of sorts. There's all kind of ways to think, but you're not like really tuned in and connected with yourself. You feel ditzy and unfocused, and you can't remember things, and it's you stumbling and bumbling for your words and all of that. Those are all signs that you're disconnected from yourself in that moment. Um, Everybody's going to feel that way sometimes. There's just situations that happen. But if you start noticing that you feel this way a lot or most of the time, that's a sign that you need to slow down and show yourself some self-love. Oh, thanks, Lady Boss. It was suggested by one of the members, visitors to the page or something. All right, number two, and this is a big one. You don't take care of your health. Why so many sisters walking around here with high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, diabetic? What are you doing? Take care of yourself. Stop this. You don't be eating all that old horrifying food. You don't need to eat that stuff. That stuff is killing you. That's that stuff they call that soul food mess. Soul food is death food. All that fried stuff, all that meat, that's going to kill you. You need, especially as you get past 40, you need to eat a lot more fruits and vegetables if you want to keep your shape and keep your health. Okay, and I'm not talking about boiled in grease, collard greens and stuff. I'm talking about steamed, stir fried, sauteed vegetables and fruits and fresh fruit juices, smoothies, all this kind of stuff. You need to up your nutrient intake because as you get older, you slow down. Your calorie intake needs to go down. Otherwise, you start gaining a whole bunch of weight. So you got to be very cognizant of your nutrition, as well as at all ages, we need to take care of our physical health. You with a dude, right, and he don't want to use protection. Okay, what does that do? That puts you at risk for all kinds of stuff, including death. So a woman who loves herself is going to say, no, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do this in a way that protects my health. Whereas others will just give in because they want to please him. Because he says he doesn't want to use that. So you say, okay. Okay. You're not showing yourself love. That also means get your checkups. You start having weird pains and things. Stuff's going on that's not abnormal. Take your butt to the doctor. You talking about, well, I have to miss work. Yeah, you do. Because you know what? If you don't go, guess what? You might be missing life. So let's put this stuff into perspective, especially those of you that have children. You need to be here, and you need to be here healthy. Even if you have something horrific like cancer, if it's caught early, your survival rate is extremely high. So let's stop this. Let's put thinking you need to devote all this time and energy and effort and money and stuff support to other people, and you don't give any to yourself. No. Number three. These are the points. These are the 16 behaviors of women who do not love themselves. This is the next, the right. This is the section before I tell you how you need to act to love yourself. Okay, but these are things that some of you do that show me anyway that you're not loving yourself like you say you are. You always want to escape. If you notice people that just can't be by themselves, you want to run away from your problems. A lot of women will do this. They will get a man, right, who's got all this drama going on, and they focus on him and his problems, or their mama and her problems, or their kids, adult children, and their problems, instead of their own problems, their own troubles, the stuff they need to fix and correct in their own households and in their own lives and in their own relationships. They don't do that. They're running away. They're trying to hide, you know, and you can't do that, and even if it's stuff about yourself that you don't really like. I remember being with a friend one time and she was talking about how she wanted to lose weight, right? She wants to lose weight. And we wanted to have lunch and we went to this burrito place. And We before that we had been trying on clothes, and she was upset because she couldn't fit anything. But so she went into the restaurant and she ordered like this burrito with extra sour cream and extra guacamole and all this stuff. I mean, all these extra calories. And I was truly confused. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how is that? You just said that, you were sad about this thing. It was hurting you to be that you were so overweight. But now you adding like 2,000 extra calories to this already caloric burrito. I didn't understand it. But that was, to me, a sign of someone who's running away from a situation that she needed to face head on. Instead, she should have got like a taco salad or something. I don't know. You need this melanated? Yeah, I think we all need a reminder sometimes, a little push in the butt, kick in the butt to get ourselves back on track because it's easy to you start getting distracted by other things and then you forget about yourself. So I want you all to think about it. Like I said, this is the turn. One of the takeaways is I want you to do a work like a self assessment where you sit down and you say that the stuff that you're angry about are ways that people should have taken care of you in childhood and did not, and just make a list because you're going to be working on that, doing kind of reparenting yourself so that you can address that hurt and then move past it. But as long as you keep running from it, you don't want to face it. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to look it in the eye. You don't want to admit to yourself that these people that was your parents that didn't love you, people who were abusive to you that were supposed to love you, people that didn't feed you who were supposed to love you, people who didn't help you as a little kid, be clean and stuff. So you went to school and you smelled and people teased you and stuff like that. I mean, these are all wounds that kids have suffered in their childhood and they grow up. Of course, they try to put it behind them, but those things stay with you. You're so young when you hear those things and those things happen to you. You cannot get over it unless you face the fact that it happened and you didn't like it and what you feel like it did to you. You got to face it. You know, you need to be dragged. I don't mean to laugh, Millie, because I can see you're upset. But I just to look and see that I'm sorry. That was kind of funny the way you put it. But I don't want to drag people. I mean, that's not the point here. The point is to get you guys to wake up. This whole channel is about empowering women to be their best selves and live their best life. Every single thing I do on this channel has that focus to it. Okay, this is just another aspect of it. Because what judging by the letters that come in the advice column, I'm telling you, it's like this I don't love myself thing is an epidemic amongst women. And I'm trying to figure out why. And the only thing I can figure is when you start going back to childhood and adolescence, that's when the damage took place. That's when it happened. So let's move on. So you're trying to escape. You don't want to, you want to truly love yourself. You can't run away from yourself. Okay, you got to accept everything there is about you, the good and the bad. Okay, number 4, you have unhealthy relationships. This is the number one category. I should put this first. If you find yourself in unstable, toxic, abusive, stupid relationships with unstable, toxic, stupid, abusive men over and over and over and over again, that is a sign that you don't love yourself really at all. Okay? Because one of those should have been enough. One, short time span relationship in a situation like that should have made you be like, oh, snapping out of that. Because that's gonna just do that. Yeah, I'm telling you. Because it's like you just go from one to another. All that they do is change faces and names, but the behavior, the way that they treat you, the way that they hurt you, is exactly the same. Every single relationship, every single one. You just changing bodies. Okay, but the pain you feel and you taking with you every relationship stays exactly the same. Why? That's what you got to start thinking. Why do I choose this? Why don't I care about myself more? Why don't I feel like I deserve to have somebody that treats me well and treats me nice and talks to me like I have some sense? Why do I keep picking these dudes that are just useless? Oh, I saw my name. Oh, you did. Okay, she just finished a workshop. Well, I gives my people this. This is just a start. Of course, they got to do a lot of work. Um, this it means that you have a lot of work that you need to do on yourself, basically. You can't you as long as you whatever this is that's drawing you to to see these people as attractive options. I don't like that, the law of attraction stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. That's BS. I'm talking about there's something we have, like pain, like little pain centers. And as sick and twisted as it is, we seek out people. If you're a damaged person, which, someone who doesn't love themselves is, you don't think like quote healthy people. So I want everybody to understand that. They're like, well, they should just this and that. No, we're talking about people who are kind of broken. So if you have somebody who's got a little crack in them, they're broken, piece broken off, whatever, they're not going to make choices the same way that you do. They're not going to see things the same lens that you do as a healthy person. So they're going to be going by what feels familiar. Okay. Even if what feels familiar is painful, even if what feels familiar is toxic, even if what feels familiar is going to hurt them and make them cry over and over and over, it's what they're used to. And until they get used to something else, which is going to require a lot of work, and a lot of times, with work of a therapist, it's almost impossible. You know, you can get some good starts with these tips that I'm giving you, but I strongly suggest if you find that you have a lot of these things going on, or most of these things going on in your life, please look into getting yourself into some kind of group therapy. It's less expensive than one on one, but you need somebody to help you do that. Okay, I can't do it. I can't. It's outside the scope of this show. Okay, so let's move on. You feel disengaged in life. Sometimes we do feel that, you just don't want to go to work because you don't feel like it. You don't feel like dealing with them people. You don't feel like being in traffic. You just want to just check out. And that's, in a certain sense, I think that doing that every now and then is healthy. The problem is when people check out and it's like an everyday occurrence. They don't want to do nothing. And the stuff that they choose to do are things that, leave you scratching your head like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? How's that going to help you? That's just going to mess things up. Like people who take their paycheck, they got their rent coming up, and they run off to the casino. What are you doing? You're disengaging from your life, yeah, because you need some relaxation and stuff. But is that really a sensible and sane way to do it? Why don't you just go to the woods and go on a hike or something? Whew. And a lot of people do that. They disengage from the component of life that makes them happy. Like women, because they have kids, I used to like to sit around on Sundays and read books and drink wine and listen to music. Well, now they feel like because they have kids, they can't do that. And because they have a husband, they can't do that. Because they have a boyfriend, they can't do that. Yes, you can. You send them away. You tell the husband, take your kids and get out. I want to be the house by myself for 3 hours. I don't care where y'all go, but don't come back until whatever o'clock because the house is mine during this period. Don't call, don't knock on the door, nothing. Okay, the same thing if it's your boyfriend. This is time I carve out for myself. So don't call me, don't bug me, don't nothing. This is me. This is my me time. And you listen to your songs, you do whatever you want to do, work out, do your nails, do your yoga, whatever this self-care time that you carve out for yourself. Women who don't do that and give all their free time up to everybody else are not showing very much love for themselves. You settle for stuff. You're not doing anything to make yourself happy. Number 6, you do not feel free to be who you are. A lot of women in relationships right now where they feel like they have to dull down their wonderfulness, dull their shine because they don't want to outshine a raggedy, low life, raggedy, stupid boyfriend, husband, whatever person that they're with because no, she's like, well, I don't want him to think I'm better than him. Well, you are. Now, instead of trying to hide that, he should just say, well, yeah, you are better than me, but I'm glad you picked me. So let's go on and do this. Okay, that's what a man with his sense would do. But instead, what you do, you want to take assume responsibility for his ego and his lackings and his failure and his weakness. And you want to, make yourself look small and ineffectual. Scram, yeah. Scram is a good word. I love that. But, it's the bottom line, though, is that you have to be comfortable being who you are, you know. If you are in a kind of grumpy mood sometimes, own it. Don't be trying to hide it. Don't be always trying to be nice when you hold that in. That's what makes people have high blood pressure and ulcers and stuff. No. But to a lot of you, you feel ashamed to show those things. You start getting upset. You say, "Well, I don't know." Like the letters, right? I don't know if I have the right to be upset. I don't know if I can talk to him like that, if I can be angry at him. What if he leaves me? All this kind of stuff. I'm like, if you're going to be causing me headaches on a daily basis, you please get out, scram, and take your dog and we'll gerbil with you. Ooh, wee. Mm-mm. Number 7, you hate to spend time by yourself. These are folks that always got to be surrounded by somebody. They always have a house full of folks. Either their kids or their grandkids is there, or the kids and the neighbors' kids is there. Or if it's a dude, he ripping and running from one woman to the next. Or he always with his boys, crowds of people. These are the kind of people that cannot stand to be by themselves. You know why? Because in that silence, when they're alone, they don't like what they see. They feel like they're not nothing. They're useless. They're waste of time. They're stupid. They shouldn't even be breathing. That's how they feel about themselves in reality. So in order to do what we talked about earlier and disengage, just and escape, they surround themselves by other people, so they always have some laughter and talking and jokes and whatever going on, something to distract them from the nothingness that they have allowed their life to become. I love it. That's why to me, like this COVID thing, I'm not having a problem with it at all. People are like, "Oh my God, I don't have any socialization." I'm like, "Oh, you should be counting your blessings," but they're upset. So yeah, it's just a different kind of personality style. Number 8, this is another huge one for women. You do not express your thoughts, your opinions, or your ideas about things. You always want to conform to the opinions of others. So even if you have a different of opinion, if 4 or 5 people, say it's 9 or 10 people, right? 4 or 5, 6 of them, want one thing, you just gonna go along with it. They say, "Oh yeah, it's this and that and this and that," and rather than say, "No, it's not," blah 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 blah, you be like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah." Because you just want to, just go along. It's like you're afraid to have a thought or an opinion that's different from everyone else's. That's why, you see, and this is a real big problem in the black community. I'm sorry. If people want to go, they don't want to go. Everybody want to dress like everybody else. They want to have what everybody else. They do their hair like everybody else's. Have a nail style like everybody else. Have this handbag because so and so wore it. Some rapper or some movie star or something like that. I mean, it's like all these things, people don't are very afraid to do what is right for them on an individual basis. They feel like they need the support of a crowd in order to feel that they've made a good decision, that what they're doing is right, that this good enough. And that kind of stuff. They need everybody's buy-in. And that's like, I used to have a boss like that, and he drove me crazy. He couldn't make a decision about nothing. It was like he wanted to convene a committee and, have this like, test run and all this stuff and do votes and all this stuff. Have 16 meetings about it to talk about something that I would have decided in 5 seconds. Like, oh, what are these options? This one and this one, that one. He wouldn't do that. And it used to drive me crazy. Reflect on yourself. That's a good one. Yeah, the Stepford Wives. So, yeah, but do you think about that? It's like if you are afraid to stand up for people and stand up for what you believe in, that's a true lack of self-esteem right there. Or sometimes maybe you don't think that what you think is stupid. Or you think that your ideas will get so shot down and then everybody will think that you don't know what you're talking about. People have a lot of fear about it, but if you look at what they're fearful of, it's all based on what other people think, what other people like, what other people want, what other people say, what other people believe. It's not about you. So where are you showing any caring for yourself in there? Oh, thank you, Bad Wench. Haven't seen you around for a while. Yeah, I'm just like, this is sad. There's a couple of more. How many did I say I had? 16? Okay, number 9, you don't pamper yourself. These women you see walking around with busted up nails, their hair looking all crazy, their skin is all jacked up, you know. Their clothes is all toed back and everything. Their kids look good. Their husband looked good. They looked toe up and raggedy. I remember seeing somebody like that. I was in my teens, and my father took us all out, right? And I remember this lady. She had like a little baby, like a like a hip baby. So I don't know, maybe a year old or so, and another kid that was like 4 or 5 maybe, and then her husband. So there was two boys, her and the husband. They was decked out. They had like the boys had matching outfits on, and the dad had a sweater that was the same color as theirs. They tried to dress all family oriented as everything. But she didn't have on clothes that matched theirs, and her stuff that she had on was raggedy as heck. And she had on some old creeled over flip floppy looking shoes. Well, they was all clean as the clap doctor. And I remember looking at that and looking very confused. And I was probably about 13, 12, something like that. And I'll never forget that look on her face, that look of utter exhaustion. No makeup, and she had pretty hair too, but it wasn't styled. She just looked a hot mess, and she looked worn out. While everybody in her family looked like $1 million. I want you guys to be the one looking like $1 million. I'm not saying make your kids look raggedy and toe up and all of that, but I'm just saying put at least as much energy into what you do for them into yourself. Why should you go out the house looking like yesterday's news and everybody else looking like a movie star? You know, it's just terrible. Okay, that's pamper yourself. And bubble baths and stuff like that. Massages, going to spas, to relax your muscles, get the knots out, get facial so your complexion look like it's something. I mean, do something with yourself. But a lot of women just won't do it. They don't even do it at home. They just don't do it, period. Number 10, you downplay your achievements. Now, always make jokes about people winning the Pulitzer or Nobel Prize and all that stuff. No, we ain't about to do all of that. But, do you believe that there's something about yourself that you bring positive to your neighborhood, your family, um, your school, your campus, your job? I mean, there has to be something that you feel like you are a contributor to, something that you can point to with pride that you exert of yourself and give of yourself to make the world a better place. What do you do? A lot of women who don't love themselves feel like they have no value. They have nothing to offer. So they don't do any of that kind of stuff. They pretty much stay to themselves. They go to work, they go home. They go to church, they go home. You don't even know who they are outside of those two environments. There's somebody who's not making any mark and doing anything positive for the world. Come on now. Yeah, I know she was tired, but I'm telling you, as a little kid, I just looked at that and I was like, because, that means her husband wasn't helping at all. The kids were kind of young, but to do some like sweeping dishes and stuff like that. But that means her husband wasn't helping her do nothing. She was doing it all. The woman she looked a wreck. Okay, so if you have something that you've done that you think is proud of, it's unusual, it's an accomplishment. Don't downplay it. I'm not saying you got to lead with it going the door. Yes, I'm so and so, and yes, I've done this, I've done that. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like if the subject comes up, you don't not say it because you're trying to make other people feel okay and fit in and think, well, it's no big deal. I didn't really do that much. Those kind of things. You did something that other people haven't done. So how you mean it's not so much? What you talking about? I don't know. Number 11, you are harsh and mean to yourself. You criticize yourself all the time. I mean, some of that has benefit. Like, you did something, you shouldn't have been doing it. And then you criticize yourself about it. You spank your hand and you say, what was you doing? We're not going to be doing that kind of stuff. That was a mistake. We're not going to do that again. We're going to grow from that. We're going to learn from that. We're going to move past that. That's growth. But if you be judging yourself all the time to the point where you're picking yourself apart, calling yourself names, berating yourself and demeaning yourself, and you do that on a daily basis, well, that's a problem. And that means that you're punishing yourself and hating on yourself for being who you are instead of loving yourself for being who you are. These are all things you guys are going to have to really think about how you do these things in your life. I'm just telling you the behaviors. You're going to have to take what the behavior is and go through your mental Rolodex and get an idea of how you display these things in your life, in your, relationships and stuff like that. You're going to have to do that. You don't take care of your body. Your body is your temple, and a woman's hair is her glory. That's what my grandfather used to say to us. So you try to take care of both. I think a lot of women, have natural hair. They overhandle it, so they break it up. They every day they got a new style. They twist it up. They doing this stuff. Leave your hair alone. Just leave it alone. See, mine, I don't do crap to mine. But that's, our hair is very delicate, and you can't be doing a whole bunch of stuff to it. Take care of your body with, exercise, with what you eat, with what you drink. Don't go crazy with liquor. Don't go crazy with, drugs, even if they are prescribed. Be careful with that too. Just take care of what you want this to last you for 90 years or more in good health. You got to take care of it when you're young, okay? You don't cheer for yourself. Everybody fails sometimes, but you got to be able to get up, say, come on, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, and believe it and get up and keep going. You don't trust yourself. Like I said, we get a lot of advice letters. You've seen them yourself. Well, the women like, do I have the right to do this? Is this right? Am I over feeling this? Do I have the right to feel this way? Should I this? Should I that? Was I wrong? So they don't trust themselves at all. And then you get a spidey sense tingling that some dude is up to some no good. What you supposed to do about that? You're supposed to not go with him. Okay, not try to be nice and go with him anyway. You don't do that. Number 15, you always in your feelings. You got a victim mentality. These are women that don't love themselves. Everything somebody says, they feel like somebody's attacking them. Everything that someone says, they take it personally. And you just talking about something in general, not about them. It's nothing about them in specific, because you might not even know this about them. They're going to get all offended and think you talking about them. It's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, and stuff like that. They are getting crowds, right? These are the ones that like, look at her looking at me. What's she looking at? They talking about me. All this paranoia. It's like, you ain't that important. Stop it. Just sit yourself down somewhere. But you know what? If you really loved yourself, even if you did think people were looking at you, you would be like, yes, I know you like what you see. You would have a different attitude about it. You wouldn't feel like you're a victim under attack. You would feel flattered. And of course they're going to be looking at all this wonderfulness. They can't help it. Their eyes come to me like a magnet. Stuff like that. Even if it's funny, you're going to still have a different perspective on it. And the final one, and then they jump to conclusion, and they always assign a negative intent to everything. So you talking to them, you got to constantly go back and explain what you really meant, because you say something right, they take it and go twist it into something else, and so you got to go back and clarify what you didn't even say, that they twisted in their head some kind of way to be something negative. It's a trip dealing with people like that. God, just don't do crap to your hair. That's what my mother did. My mother, she did, she did not want to do her hair, and that's when we all noticed as kids that it grew the best and didn't break off and stuff. So I'm kind of doing the same thing. My grandmother, my father's mother, she would wear her hair. She had two like Indian plaits and stuff. And when she died, she was 94, and she still had all her hair, and her hair was down to her waist. It was gray, but she still had it. So it's just, people think black women, you can't be handling your hair like that. You just leave your hair alone. And then that was a sidetrack. And then number 16, you are guarded with other people. You don't open yourself up to other people at all. You don't want to be vulnerable because you're scared. You're scared they're going to hurt you. And most people have some difficulty opening up, don't get me wrong. But the people who don't love themselves don't do it because they believe that they don't deserve love. That's why they chase situationships and be in situations where they are, quote, loving the man, but he's not really loving them back. That's safer because they don't have to have expectations that way they can just give what they feel is this love to him without expecting anything back. So even though that's a sick kind of relationship, I'm telling you, when I see it, I know what's going on. You can't be calling people on everything, but that's why so many women choose those kind of relationships to be in. Like with convicts locked up behind bars and stuff like that, they're safe. What they gonna do, right? There's a lot of less risk there. You don't really have to open up to somebody who's in a cage, who's far away, a long distance relationships, all of that kind of stuff. You can hide a lot of who you and what you are that way and just present this pretty little face on Zoom or whatever y'all use, Skype and all this, and just, to deal with the person. And that's why a lot of people only have online relationships. They never meet up, they never get offline. That's why, because they think you're not going to like them because they don't like themselves. All right, how we doing on time here? How long is this show? Okay, hold on a second. I'm trying to see. Okay, we're doing all right. I just, because it was just, I got to writing y'all and it was just so much, even I got tired. So I'm like, oh, I hope they can hang with this. Okay. Now, how do you know that you finally love yourself? When a woman loves herself, what kind of ways does she show it? I think a lot of you would need some examples. So I prepared some. Of course, I went crazy, as I always do. And I can't just make a few, you know, 10 things. I had to go like into the ozone with it. How many did I come up with? 45. 45 ways, 45 things. Okay, 45 ways to know that you are finally loving yourself the way that you should have all along. Okay, let's start. This is going to be a while here. Number one, you only surround yourself with people who truly care about you, people who really want what's best for you. And anybody who's, offering some toxicity and BS, what do? You immediately boot them from your life. You don't hang on to them. You don't feel any kind of ties and obligations to that individual once they show you who they are. Yes, girl, 45 Tansy. Tansy, I done lost my mind. Okay? But this is an important one. Now, if you guys didn't do nothing else except for this one, which is not surround yourself with, only surround yourself with people who truly care about you, support you, and want what's best for you. Do you know that you could like eliminate 90% of these nonsense, horrible relationships that you be in with just this one thing? Because you wouldn't be surrounding yourself with a man. You wouldn't let him be in your world if he didn't demonstrate that he truly cared about you. You wouldn't let him stick around if he didn't support you, left you hanging, abandoned you. If he showed you in any kind of way that he didn't want what was the best thing for you, he wanted what he wanted at your expense, you would get rid of him. But instead, what so many women do, because they're so hungry for the relationship, they hang on to the relationship because they want to hang on to the man, and they sacrifice all these things. They're not getting anything out the relationship. That's why I told you all to start asking that, what's in it for me? These things, notice all these topics kind of tie together. But yes, 45. That was only number one. Oh, number two. You take care of yourself. Okay, we talked about that, whether that means meditating, changing your diet, starting an exercise program. Turn off the TV, read a book or something, get some fat on your head. Stop wanting to talk about housewives and all that old nonsense. That ain't making you no money. That's not advancing your life. It's not doing anything positive for you. Women who love themselves don't want to waste time on stupid stuff like that. They're too busy developing themselves so they can become a better woman. Even if you only watch that stuff an hour a day, that's enough. Stupid is just, we call it the idiot box. Sitting there and watching TV for 5 or 6 hours. Some people never turn their television off. Okay, why do you do that? It's teaching your kids bad habits, and it's teaching it's bad for you too. All y'all sit there, turn that damn TV off and sit down somewhere and read some books. Read to your kids. Kids love that. Tell them stories. Make up stuff. Have fun with them. Have family game night. Do all kind of stuff that does interacts with your people in your house that does not involve a television. Okay? Get out, interact, do stuff positive. Put yourself first. Number three, you genuinely feel happy for other people and stop comparing yourself to others. These are the 45 ways to know that you have finally arrived where you really love yourself. Okay, because look at her. She thinks she all that. She thinks she fine. She thinks she cute. She think this, she think that. Okay, you ain't loving yourself because you too busy trying to be stupid, hating on everybody. Just too worried about what other people doing. If you really loved yourself, you could, big up on a sister. Be like, sister girl got it going on. Okay, why you think you got to be the only one that's cute? You know what I mean? That's just a bit much to see that kind of behavior, especially from grown women. It's so juvenile. Why can't you think that, you could be happy for other people and that what they're doing is great, but that don't have nothing to do with what you're doing? It's not, you're not in competition unless you got your business is in competition with her business or something. Then I could see it, or you in competition with them for a job. But it's just a job. There's plenty of other ones. You know what I mean? Let's not flip out here. Um, Number four, you stand up for yourself when you need to instead of biting your tongue. This is when people do that, they're basically trying to please other people. You try to be a people pleaser. You got to think that your opinion is important. Your ideas are important. Your belief system is important. Everything that you have to say is important enough to be spoken. You don't let other people shut you down and tell you that you don't want to hear what you got to say. You got some man telling you that he don't want to hear you, what you have to say, and you're supposed to be in a relationship with him. You know what you need to do? Get rid of him. How can you have a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to? You want to talk and understand what's going on with you? You're the partner. They're supposed to understand what's going on with you, just like you sit down and understand what's going on with them. You got somebody who shuts the door in your face and doesn't want to know anything about what's going on with you. So, and you go along with that, that means you don't like yourself very much, because that means you don't feel like you're important enough to be heard. Are you feeling where I'm going with this? Okay. The women who feel good about themselves and love themselves insist on being heard. They stand up for themselves. They have boundaries. Okay. They have expectations and they make demands. They're assertive in their decisions and their requests for what it is that they want. And they refuse to settle for less. Number five, those negative voices in your head that discourage and demean you have turned into positive affirmations. We touched on that earlier. Instead of you saying, uh, oh my God, thank you, Lady Boss. You can block foods like that. Can you block people? I can. Let me see here. Let me do that. Da, da, da. Hold on, y'all. I have some business to do. There. Okay. Now I'm happy. Number five. You stop picking yourself apart, right? Because those messages you tell yourself, you're not good enough, you're gonna fail. Why even try? You it's not gonna work anyway. These kind of things that people tell themselves and kind of like take themselves out of the race before they even start. Those are the women that don't love themselves. Those that do are gonna give it their best shot, right? They're gonna be like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can try this. What can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Whatever. I can do this. I can make this happen. I can achieve this goal. I can win. You got to get those kind of messages instead. Number six, you go after what you want. You're motivated to pursue your dreams because they're a huge part of who you are. You have the confidence to go after what you want. Number seven, you're comfortable spending one-on-one time with yourself. Now that you love yourself, you love being by yourself. You actually value this kind of quality time. Take it as an opportunity to recharge your batteries. Okay. Number eight, you're grateful. Practicing gratitude is a daily part of life. Understand that nobody owes you anything. Okay. So this is the gratitude we're talking about, not like on your knees praying to some invisible being. I'm talking about being grateful for the things that come your way. Like me, I'm like always grateful that Lady Boss came into my life. This don't have nothing to do with religion, but it's a thing that this woman, she showed up. She used to be in a chat and then she became a moderator and she's here. She got assistance back like 9,000. And so, you guys who come all the time, you guys who make super chat donations, the people who are my Patreon supporters, of course I'm grateful for that. And so, you have to practice that kind of gratefulness. Thank people and realize nobody has to give you shit. Nobody has to do nothing for you. No, you ain't owed nothing. Okay? You're not entitled to anything. If people give you stuff out of the kindness of their heart, be happy about it and be grateful. All right? Number 9, you're happy when other people achieve things because you know you're on your own path and you're going to have a different yet still meaningful kind of success. Okay? You might not get what they have, but your success is different. What everybody's looking for in life is different, okay? Be okay with what you have as your goals and let other people do them. Okay? We can't be the same. Number 10, you know great things are going to happen to you because you put positive energy out there and you open yourself up to different experiences. Part of this for women means getting off of this type so much. Your strict type of man in a relationship. Open yourself up. He might look a little different than what you used to. Might be a different nationality than what you used to. You know, open yourself up to the fact that you can meet some really nice guy that might ultimately end up being perfect for you. That's what happened to me. I told you, he just was like, yeesh. I wasn't interested. But it turned out to be perfect because I had to be open though to the possibility. You got to do that for yourself. Believe in yourself. Know that you're capable of achieving what you truly desire. That's number 11. Number 12, hone your talents and your strengths so that you don't need other people to motivate you to keep you going. You can do it yourself. You know that you have the tools to accomplish these things already within you. Number 13, you stop giving chances to people who keep letting you down. They keep failing one time after another. So the point you know that they're gonna fail because here they are. You always have like a backup plan because in case they don't do whatever. And you know this is the person you call your man, your partner, and you have plan B and C and D in case he messes up. Why don't you just get you a different man or just do without one? That's all you can do. That's the best you can get right now. Okay, who needs that disappointment over and over and over? And you hanging everything by yourself. No. Number 14. You've moved on from toxic relationships and you're not looking back. You're not trying to miss them. You're not trying to be friends with them. You're not trying to still interact with them on the behind your new boyfriend's back. They're gone. They're history. They're smoke. They're nothing. That's where they belong. And a woman who feels good about herself and who loves herself, I saw something. What happened? Oh, thank you, princess. If you feel good about yourself and you love yourself and you know that you don't deserve to be treated like that, there's nothing that fool could say to you ever, not in this lifetime or the next. But those of you who want to keep jumping back over the fence and bringing the past back into the present and messing with somebody who's already proven himself to be an idiot, what are you doing? That's a sign that you don't love yourself very much. But when you put up this boundary and you can finally cut ties with that fool and you can move on to the bright, happy future, that is a sign that you're taking care of yourself and you're loving yourself as you should. Let me read what Princess wrote. Yes, honey. Honey, yes. Google Voice is every woman's friend. Every single woman's friend. Um, Number 15, you started filtering your inner circle. And you have removed yourself from negative people and the ones who truly do not care about you. You know, they used to have this word that went out called frenemies. A lot of women have frenemies. They don't trust them. They don't trust them like around their men. They don't trust them in certain things. They only have these women that they call a friend, but they're not really a friend. If you got somebody like that, you got to be guarded around. What are you doing? Why are you even tripping with her? Um, Number 16, you defend yourself and your ideas to people who try to belittle you. This happens a lot in relationships. You have an idea for something. What's the first thing out of his mouth? Oh, that's stupid. That ain't going to work. But you thinking that crazy mess for, right? Oh, you just a woman. You don't know nothing, right? So he's belittling your ideas, your thoughts, instead of asking you, well, how did you, why you think that? Let's explain it to me. How that would work? Okay, that's how you communicate to your mate. But you just start immediately shooting them down. Then you get in a situation where the person doesn't even want to talk to you and stuff, and the relationship base ultimately tanks and dies. But these are important things that we women have to do. You can't just give in. Like he says something like that. You got to stand up for yourself and stand up for your ideas and what's going to work for you. Okay, not it's not about him. What's going to work for you? And when you can do that without feeling guilty, without feeling like you're afraid you're going to lose the relationship and all this kind of stuff, you're doing it because you know that's the right thing to do to take care of yourself. Then you will have arrived at that point where you are loving yourself. Number 17, you crossing things off of your quote bucket list and adding, and replacing them with some other incredibly wonderful options. So, a lot of people want to wait until they retire to start living their life and crossing off the stuff off their bucket list. That's too late. Too many people die within a year of retiring. What you want to do is start on your bucket list now while you're still young. Okay? While you can enjoy it. Take pictures. Put it better in scrapbooks. And, that's a sign that you're taking care of yourself because you're making your own dreams come true. That's what you got to do. Okay, number 18. You spend more time doing things that you are passionate about. You take the time to do stuff for yourself that you enjoy. Painting. Maybe you've always wanted to take a painting class. You always want to go back to school. You always wanted to, I don't know, become a yoga instructor. You wanted to do stuff with your time that you didn't do because you was busy giving it to other people. Once you decide that you love yourself, you're going to make sure that your dreams are recognized and your dreams and your goals are given the time and attention that they deserve. You're not going to keep sacrificing for other people. So many women, especially for their kids, they sacrifice for their children. Oh, well, my kids is, what you tell them, go in your room and read a book and don't come out. I got something to do. And I'm going to be doing this. Don't interrupt me. Don't bother me. I have a goals for my life. You need to do their homework. I'm going to be doing mine. That kind of stuff. I mean, set, boundaries with people. A lot of women don't have boundaries with their children, let alone with men. They just don't have them. So the kids run buck wild and so do your men. You don't put your foot up people's. Anyway, um, number 19, you're making new connections with people that inspire you, that you can learn from, that can, lift you up and help you position yourself for whatever these future goals are. You're not wasting time with the same old, same old. I mean, it's nice that you have friends from childhood and stuff like that, but everybody's got to grow. I found that I left mine behind. For the ones from that I grew up with, I left them behind. They still want to do the same stuff and talk about the same stuff and go to the same places that they've been doing for the last 20 years. I can't do that. I want to do new stuff and learn things. And you just at some point you got to realize that you've left people behind and just deuce out without feeling guilty about it. And you still talk to them if you see them, but you don't seek them out and you don't involve them in your life anymore. You make new connections with people that you can make, involve in your life. Number 20, you're closing old doors that lead nowhere and you find a new door. Okay, well, I just talked about that. I mushed those two together. 21, the voices in your head are a lot kinder and more supportive than they used to be. So they're not sitting up there saying, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're evil, you're retarded, you can't do anything right, you can't get a man, you can't keep a man, nobody wants you, you're not lovable. All those kinds of messages. You're not doing that to yourself anymore. You stop. 22, you forgive yourself for your mistakes. Instead, you see what the value was in those lessons because everything that happens to us, there's a lesson there, to make us a better person if you take the time to learn it. If you want to flip into victimhood, of course, you won't learn anything because you just feel like everything happened to you. You want to accept your role of your role of responsibility for what, at least partially, what happened. Other than that, like somebody, like I saw this poor lady, she was stopped at a stoplight rather, and this guy, I don't know what, he must have been high or something. Anyway, he came down the street and just like he didn't see the light or something, just barreled and just plowed right into the back of her car. Now, did she have any fault in that? No, not at all. She was doing everything that she was supposed to be doing. He was 100% in the wrong. And so something like that, then, of course, yes, you didn't make any choice. You have no responsibility in that. But I'm talking about within your relationships. We always have a choice to take it or to keep taking it. Number 23, you're more confident in yourself. Even when people are doubting you, you still say, "Well, I can make it. I don't worry about it. I got it. I got it." And you mean it, and you feel you really believe in yourself. You don't sit there like breaking. Oh, you don't think I can do it? Oh, maybe I should reconsider. Oh no, maybe I'm not good enough. Okay, then you just go into this puddle of fear and self doubt. But no, when you love yourself, that means you have high self esteem. You believe that you can do it. You believe in your qualifications. You believe in your skills. You believe in everything about yourself. So that doesn't happen to you. Okay? This is getting long. I guess everybody's hanging in there though. Okay, I'll keep going. Um, Number 24, you know when to walk away from people who do not appreciate you, right? Now, I done told y'all about the date I had on the first freaking date. Dude is gonna tell me, you would look better if you had a short haircut. You know what I did? I cut him. That's what I did. Now, see, that was because I know I love myself just like I am. I don't need your approval. I don't need your opinion. You like me enough to ask me out and just spend all that money on lunch? But now all of a sudden you want to try to play this game? I'm not. We're not doing that. We're not playing that. We're not going to do that. And so I just shut him down and just left, and that was the end of that. So you get one time to show me that you don't appreciate who and what I am. Once. I wish more of you had that. So many times we hear, the women coming here or they write in the advice column and they talk about the things that these dudes say to them and the way that they talk to them and the way that they treat them. It's just so callously and like with little regard. And you keep talking to him. You keep being involved with him. You keep sleeping with him. You keep, having them in your house. They should be dismissed immediately. You don't have no man around enjoying the benefits of being with you and you talking to him and he talking to you all kind of crazy and trying to pick you apart and tell you where you not good enough. If I just breathe and fart at the same time, that's the best breathing and farting routine you've ever seen. That's what you better say. If you don't say it, you better think it. You know what I mean? I just can't. So, somebody who doesn't appreciate you and who tells you that you're not good enough, that you should be something else, you should be something different, and he wants a change. You change him. Get rid of him. Okay, you have to start believing that you are good enough just the way that you are, or the pace person that you want to become is good enough. You're on your path. You're on your way. You might not be there yet, but you're still making strides in that direction. So that's got to be good enough too. You see what I mean? You don't let no man tell you that. You never do anything. Well, number 25, you are truly enjoying your life and all the changes that you've made, and you are grateful that you learned how to love yourself. Number 26, you are being real to the people around you and to yourself. There's nothing worse than dealing with some fake heifer, just fake. I saw a case of that. Oh my God! Well, this was when my brother was still going to GW law, and we went out there, and he had this girl who liked him, right? And so the girl says, "Oh, let's go to the mall." So we go to the mall, and in California, we just, as they used to say, let it all hang out. If we like you, we like you. We tell you. If we don't like you, we don't tell. Don't like you, and we'll tell you that too. Okay, so I had never seen no mess like this. So here I am out there at the school. I mean, we were at the mall with this chick, right? And so it was her, me, her sister, and somebody else. And so anyway, so this girl that she knew from her sorority walked by, right? And she's a couple of girls. And she stopped and her whole expression changed. She was just pleasant and just so smiling and everything. And just like, girl, yes, we must get together for lunch and all this kind of stuff, right? Gave her a hug and was just all friendly and everything. Lonnie, let me tell you okay, the second that girl walked away and around the corner, because you know how malls have those, intersections and T's and stuff, you could go different directions. Soon as that girl went around the thing down to the next aisle, Her facial expression changed, and that girl became every kind of bee there was, and how she couldn't stand her, and all this stuff. And I mean, the venom, it was unbelievable. I sat there looking at her like it was just unbelievable. I could wait to tell my brother. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you trying to get involved with this chick, but I'm telling you, that'd be the worst thing you could ever do. Let me tell you what I just saw. She is so fake and phony, and that's like you got somebody who can't be real with you and tell you about yourself. That's what a real friend does. They tell you, okay, you messing up. You shouldn't be doing that. What you doing? Why are you letting him treat you like that? No, girl, that dress does not look good on you. You need to get a bigger size, or that color is not flattering. No. That hairstyle not make you look like Ronald McDonald. That is not cute. I mean, your friends, you have to be real with them, and they need to be real with you. You guys have to have that kind of relationship where you can, if you're hurting, you can tell them. If you need a hug, you can cry on their shoulder. You can be vulnerable to these people. Are you willing to do that and be who you really are? Show who you really are to the people that are close to you. If you can't do that, you need to replace those individuals. Okay, those are people that you can't. They shouldn't be there. That was mentioned before. Honey, I'm telling you, have you ever seen no mess like that? I had never seen nothing like that. I never knew anybody who was that fake. I just couldn't believe it. And she was from Maryland. I was like, woo, these folks. Everybody I ever met from Maryland's kind of like, you got to look at them with one eye. Like, what's really going on here? Okay, let's keep going on this massive list that I went crazy and wrote. Number 27, you are not afraid to say that you're sorry and apologize. That's called owning up, being a big girl. So people who don't like themselves don't want to apologize because they hate to feel that they're wrong, right? They don't want anybody to know that they made a mistake because then it would verify the fact that they're not worthy, that they're stupid, that they're dumb, incompetent, all these kind of things. If you have high self-esteem and you like yourself and well, this was just a hiccup. I just did this one thing that was, probably something that I shouldn't have done or maybe should have done different. You can apologize for it and you can own up to the mistake that you made without it tearing apart your entire life. That's how you know that you've loved yourself now. Number 29, you put yourself first when you need to. That's pretty self-explanatory. Number 30, you don't save things for special occasions or for certain people. You want to look and feel good all the time. All right? So you got some little dress you want to save it for when you go on a date. Well, why don't you just wear that out when you and your friends go to happy hour? Why you got to save it for to wear with a man? Or why, your girlfriends come over and you can break it, why you only want to break out your good china on Christmas? Break it out when your girls come over. Y'all sit down in there and have the fancy dinner on the fancy dishes with the silver and stuff, crystal glasses and whatnot. Just, live your life. Treat yourself well. Number 32, you wake up every day ready to do something wonderful. Um, I wake up every day thinking, okay, what kind of shit am I going to start today? But I mean, I guess it translates into something wonderful somewhere down the line. But my original thought when I open my eyes, bing, in the morning, is like, ooh, what kind of shit am I going to start today? I swear, that's what I think every morning. And sometimes, it turns out to be something really good and wonderful. And then other times, I just rock somebody's world in a majorly devastating way. And I just be sitting there looking at them because it was like, that's what you deserved. It just took me a little while to get my act together to make sure you got paid back. But there you go. You can thank me later. So, just think about it. What are you going to do that's wonderful? Are you just going to do the same old thing that you did yesterday, the day before, last week, last month, 6 months ago? Let's breaking this up, ladies. Come on now. And I skipped one, too. Number 31, you're not afraid of promoting yourself in a healthy way. Someone says, oh, you're at work, right? They say, oh, we need somebody who can do such and such a thing. Well, you have that skill set. Well, you don't just sit there like a bump on a log. You say, oh, I can do that, Bob. I can do that. You take a chance. It's a good chance for you to shine, right? You don't just try to hide in the back. You want to be out front, at least in the middle, so somebody can take notes so you can make your name known for a promotion. More money, okay? Number 33, you stop saying negative stuff like, ooh, I'm a mess. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'll never make that work. Oh, I'll never get that job. Oh, I'll never do. You don't put those kind of things in your head. Those are women who always fill themselves with messages of failure and loss. Are women who don't like themselves very much. You tend to be calmer. This is number 35. You're calmer. You stop letting small things get to you. Let some stuff go. Not everything is not like don't need to be talked about or addressed and worked over to death. It does everything does not. Sometimes you can just say, okay, yeah, and just let it go. Okay, it's not that important. But the women who don't feel good about themselves, everything they feel like they're a victim about everything, and they want to just wear you out about it instead of just letting some mess go. Just let it go. It's no big deal. Whew. Number 36. You trust the universe to bring you what you want. Notice I left religion out of it. Do you fill in the blanket, call that whatever you want to? But for me, it's like my universal connection to everything, all the energy on this planet. If you get a really strong grip of yourself, you can marshal that energy to bring you whatever it is that you want. I've done it before. Within minutes, it manifested. So I'm a firm believer in that. But you got to be focused and you got to really want it. Number 37, you respect yourself and you no longer tolerate people who don't. Okay? The slightest, just anything. They call you out your name. They want to belittle you in some kind of way. That negging stuff, that's lack of respect. They don't show up on time for the date. They make a promise to you and then they don't keep it. All those things show a lack of respect. Why are you still dealing with that dude? Why you letting him treat you like that? What you doing? See, that's no. You got to go. You got to go. And I'll do the same thing to women. I'm not. I don't care about that. I don't care. Even if we not. I'm not dealing with you like I would do a dude. But I'm not gonna be dealing with you either. Okay. I don't have time for BS people and their nonsense. Get out. Get out of my life. I don't have time. Number 38. You know that what you have to say, your voice is important, and it matters even if other people don't agree. Okay, that's the problem. This is what's going on with the women running the Black Lives Matter thing. A lot of people don't agree with that. Oh, it's a black lives. It's all lives. It's nobody saying other lives don't matter, but we're saying black lives matter too. Okay? But they want to get all in their feelings about it. But that's how you have to feel about yourself. Okay? You matter. And what you have to say is important. You are number 39. You're making plans and pursuing your dreams without waiting for someone to join you. Pursuing your interests. What does that mean? Now, that means like, okay, you have, and this is something I did. I wanted to plan a trip to New Orleans my first time I was going down there. I had all these girlfriends who was going to come with me. You know what happened? One by one, they faked. Guess what? Deb got a ticket. Deb went to New Orleans by herself. It was kind of dangerous. I ran into a couple of issues, but I made it out alive, and that was that. Um, you want to take yourself out to dinner, a new restaurant opens. Why you got to go with somebody? I mean, it makes it nicer, but you can just go by yourself. One of the most interesting lunches I had, I went to Palo Alto. There's this Italian restaurant there. Then I went to lunch there, and it was late, right before they got ready to close. And it was an older guy eating by himself, and I came in to eat by myself, and he asked me, "Oh, are you going to be eating by yourself?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, would you like to join me? I'll buy your lunch." That place was expensive. I jetted my ass over to that chair like, shoot. And, I had a very interesting conversation with that guy. I learned a lot about men who put other things first before their family and how it happens to them, what happens to them at the end of their lives. It was all bad for dude. But it was an interesting experience. And that's the kind of stuff I like to do is, that's how come I know so much stuff. I'm always open to talking to people about anything that they want to talk about, Number 40. Okay, we only got 5 more people. Number 40, you become the voice of optimism to your friends and family. Most families tend to have a very negative frame of mind. Everybody's always, that ain't going to work. And, that we just going to do it this way here because that's the way we always been doing it. And blah, 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 blah. People tend to be kind of, down on themselves. And that is like a culture in a family. But you are going when you start loving yourself, you're going to spill over into teaching them to love themselves. Because when they call you with that drag and drama, you're going to be like, "Oh no, you're going to do great. It's going to be wonderful. You've done everything that you need to do to get to be successful. You've done this. You've done that. You've done this. Why wouldn't you succeed? You can do this, John. You can do this, Betty. You can do this, Charlie." Okay? That's how you're gonna be. You're gonna be the ringleader for optimism and excitement in your family. Cause you're not gonna let them bring you that drag and drama. Instead, you're gonna bring your joy to them. And they're gonna be like, "Oh, what is she doing? She's just like Susie Sunshine. I can't take it." Number 41, you want to learn more and you're always looking for ways to be a better person. Remember I told you how my husband, everywhere we used to go, he would have a book. He either had his laptop or the book, or a book and a laptop. He was always reading something online or reading something in a book. I never saw that man anywhere without a book in his hand. He was always trying to learn something, and that rubbed off on me. It's a very positive example to set, and it rubbed off on our daughter too. So it's the kind of thing like you have to be focused on growing as a person. When you love yourself, you want to always be your best. And whatever your best is in this one area, well, now there's 800 other areas you can go work on to be your best in those areas too. So there's, being a human being is more like a human becoming, because you're always going to be working to become the best version of yourself that you can be. It requires work and it requires focus. But if you really like the person that you are, you want to take care of yourself. You give yourself a hug, you give yourself dap, you give yourself applause, you give yourself smiles and kudos and support, because you know that you deserve all that you want in this world. Everything that's good in this world that you dream of having, you deserve to have it. You deserve it. But so the only person who's going to know that, you have to tell yourself that, though. I can sit here all day and say that, but if you don't believe it, it won't make any difference. And that's what we're working on, getting you to try to believe it. Number 42, you do not chase people. You don't chase, in other words, men. You don't chase love. You don't chase anything that sets you up to degrade yourself. That's what we call the pygmisha types, degrading themselves to chase a man. You let some man move in with you and he ain't paying no bills and stuff, you're degrading yourself. He just living off you like a child, you're degrading yourself. You let some man call you names, take your stuff, hurt your kids, you're degrading yourself. All of these are signs that you don't like yourself at all. And when you don't like yourself in your situation like that, it's just going to end up all bad. You think that person's going to love you because you do all this stuff for them and you let them do all this stuff to you? No, they hate you because they sit there and they think, God, she's stupid. She just lets me do anything. She doesn't even like herself. If she don't like herself, why should I like her? That's what they're really thinking. While you trying to angle around and be all thirsty and desperate and pick Misha-ish about some man. Yeah. But that's what happens. Okay, number 43. You finally smile more than you cry. You laugh a lot. And you finally can look at yourself in the mirror and you like what you see staring back. No matter. She could have bad head, look toe up, have a cold, whatever. You still like what you see because that's you. Number 44. You no longer feel lonely because you actually like the person that you're alone with now. Right? You like being alone. It's fun being with that person that's you. And the last one, you believe that you deserve some really stupendous love, and you're going to feel confident that you will find it. You will find it. Yes. Now my summary. God, this is like, why did I write so much? It seemed like it wasn't this much when I was putting it together. Okay, now it's time to, you're going to create this plan to love yourself. So what do you do? Those of you who are in situations where you with somebody who's not treating you right, you're going to break up. You're going to do that because you need to start this path to loving yourself. As long as you're in a situation with somebody that's not you're not loving yourself in a situation like that, the only way you can start on that path is to get rid of that dead weight. Okay? If you have a dead end job, you have a job that's not paying you what you worth, you're underemployed. You're going to get off of your butt and you're going to put in the effort to find a better job. That's what you're going to do. Okay? You're going to stop suffering and stop talking about it, and you're going to start doing something about it. If you need to, you're going to get a professional resume hookup. You're going to get your stuff together. You're going to go down to some whatever store. Everybody say, I always say Macy's. That's because that's the only store I ever would go to. Department store I would go to, Macy's and Bloomingdale's. Um, so, anyway, they have people there, like, consultants who can help you pick an outfit for an interview and all this old stuff. So you go and you do that, you get your resume polished up, and you get your references polished up, and you hit the thing to do something about it. Stop being broke and suffering and doing without and all that stuff when you have the talents and the skills to make more money. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to like yourself enough to put in that effort, okay? You are going to confront somebody who has been hurting you. This person's been, it could be your parents, a sibling, someone at your job. I don't know who it is, but whoever's been hurting you, you're going to confront them and you're going to tell them about themselves and you're going to demand that they stop. If they do not stop, then there should be some repercussions. Depending on who that person is, the repercussions that you choose will be different. I can't tell you that. Only you can make that determination. Okay? If you have a problem with alcohol abuse, drug abuse, gambling addiction, popcorn addiction, any of those kinds of things, you're going to get yourself involved in a recovery program. And it's not going to be one of them ones, them things, put my hands in the Lord and all this little stuff. You're going to get yourself in a real recovery program where they do actual work that's not based on religion. You want it to be based on the latest mental health treatments. That's what you want. Okay? Something that's in the here and now. Get yourself together. As long as you're hurting yourself with drugs and alcohol and all this kind of stuff, then you can't live your life the way that you're supposed to, the way that you were meant to. You got to change these things in order to get yourself on the path to loving yourself. Okay? These are the steps I want you to take to get yourself on that path. You can cry. You have some emotional wounds because I'm sure this show is going to dig up a lot of stuff for people, especially if they start thinking about their childhood wounds. It's okay for you to cry. Cry it out. And like I said, then you need to sit down and write it out about what you're crying for. Write it out. And then if you need to, which I highly recommend, that you at least get a few sessions in a group therapy. Group is fun because you get to be in with other people that are having the same problem that you're having. And it's cheaper. If you're feeling bored with yourself, you're feeling like you're not utilizing your time well or something, then you're going to do something. You're going to learn a new language. You're going to go sign up for an online class. You're going to learn a new instrument. You're going to do something to to bring some joy and happiness and excitement into your life. Stop looking for men to provide that for you. Stop looking for your kids to provide that for you. You are responsible for providing it for yourself. So let's get off our dusty butts, ladies, and make that happen. Okay? So think about what it is that you've always wanted to do. And then I want you to do it. Okay? That's one of your another steps to starting to love yourself. If you've been always complaining about your weight, your upper arms, it's flabby. You got rolls around your back. You got back fat. All the stuff. You're going to start an exercise program. What's been stopping you? Okay. I have put on the community wall. I'm going to say this here too. On the community wall, I have an offer. If you send me your email, just read that post first and then respond to it because I asked some other information about body, joints and stuff. I can send you a workout that you can do at home. You need 2 pairs of dumbbells and a physio ball and maybe like a towel or a mat. That's it. A carpeted floor will do as well. That's all you need. I will kick your butt. I was a personal trainer for 15 years. I'm going to give some workouts out to people. So you want to start working out, you can't go to the gym. I miss mine. But you can start an exercise program. I put links in this below there on that community wall to our Amazon store so you can order the dumbbells or the ball and stuff there and help out the channel. If you need to go to therapy because you're unhappy, you start going. You stop putting it off. You stop talking about it. You get up and you make that appointment and you go. If you've been having aches and pains, you know you need a checkup. You haven't been getting, you're taking care of your health. You're going to go to the appointment and you're going to make one and you're going to go see the doctor and get a baseline. If you need some medication for blood pressure, whatever, you're going to get on it. If your blood pressure's out, your blood sugar is out of control, you're going to get on medication for that or you're going to change your diet immediately and hope that you can lower it down with diet and exercise. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. You need to understand that you're going to be able, you have to live in the present. Stop always thinking about the past, what you shoulda, woulda, coulda, and beating yourself up for that. You can't change the past. The only thing that you can impact is the present to change the future. Okay, that do worry about what you have the power to change, which is right here, right now. You can't do nothing about what somebody did to you before or how you suffered and all stuff. Stop thinking about that kind of stuff. Okay, you got to heal from it certainly, but focusing on it every day as the reason why you won't do stuff for yourself today because of what might happen based on some ancient history, what somebody else did who's probably dead by now, and you still worrying about that? No, you're not going to do that. That's not part of loving yourself. And the main thing is you need to accept that, it's not your weight or your hair color or your skin color or your hair texture, or what kind of bag you own, where you live, what you drive, how fat your paycheck is, what your man looks like, what your man does. None of those things have anything to do with you loving yourself. You can love yourself with none of them things in play, and you can love yourself with all of them things in play, or you can not love yourself with all of them wonderful things in play too. Loving yourself is a decision that you make, just like you made it to not love yourself and to pick yourself apart. I think this is the hardest thing for women because so much, we get hit over the head so much. We're told what we're supposed to do to sacrifice ourselves to please other people. Remember the video, the burnt toast video? Women eating burnt toast because they don't want to give it to their family. So everybody else gets nice toast and they get the burnt piece. It's that kind of mentality. All these things are going to require that you carve out time for yourself, have boundaries, and be able to say no to people, to carve out the time for you to do these things for yourself. Make sure that you do them. Hey, thanks, T. Make sure that you do this and take care of yourself, ladies. When you, and then another way that you show self-love is um, if you help out people, you help out someone who's needs a little assistance. You've already learned that lesson, right? You learn that lesson, so you go forward. Pay it forward or whatever they call it, and you teach somebody else. So they help them get over the hump to love themselves, just like you had to love yourself. That's how we as women can help each other. Okay. You don't have to be a master at anything. All that you have to do is know more than the person who's asking you. Then you can become their teacher. That's how it works. It's that simple. So you got some young women in your family or something, you see that they're displaying traits of not really loving themselves very much. You know that you just learned all of this stuff here, share it with them. You see what I mean? Don't just let them struggle by themselves. Don't you be the person like how people did you. You be different. And you make the generation behind you benefit from the lessons that you had to learn. You think I put all my time and energy into all of this stuff and do all this stuff just for no reason? I do this because it helps you, and I want you to go and help other people. I can't reach everybody, but I reached you. So now you to go and you teach somebody. Every one of you listening to this, you go and you help another female person, a teenage girl, a young adolescent girl, a grown woman going through a divorce, a young girl that you see is in a situation that she shouldn't be in. Whatever it is that you can do, you speak up because that's what you do. Because that's what women do when they love themselves. They love themselves and they want other women to love themselves as well. So you speak to her out of love. You speak to her with support. You speak to her with encouragement and appreciation for what she's been through. And when you approach people like that, um, it's one of those giant exercise balls. I have go in the channel wall, the community wall from the home page, and you'll see. Just click the link, and it shows you the pictures and all that stuff. And to people who send me their email address, I'll send you a workout. Okay, it's gonna get you started. It's nothing too severe, but it'll get you started, and you see some marked changes if you do it right. Okay. So I think that's pretty much, what I wanted to say on that. But I think that if you practice self-love, it's like the most important thing that you can do for yourself. Everything else, every decision that you make, every success that you have or don't have, and everything that you do, the people that you choose to be in your, everything is based on how you feel about yourself. Because if you feel really good about yourself, there's just certain stuff you're just not going to take. Certain people you're just not going to tolerate. Certain drama that you're just not going to be acceptable to you, and you're going to get rid of them. So you won't be one of these women writing an advice column suffering all this drag and drama, because you would have squelched that mess and sent them people on their way like real quick. It's like, no, you just ruining my high. You got to go. Yeah, I can't have you here, you know? But that, ladies, I hope was really, really informative for you. I noticed, the chat was a little slower than usual. I think a lot of people are really listening tonight because a lot of information. Um, I want to thank you for all of you who suggested topics for this. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this every other Sunday. I'm going to try, Now that it's going to be wintertime, I'll be at home more, so it should be better. But you guys are all everything that I've seen here. I've seen a lot of women come through this channel, and over the period of time that there's, you can tell by their comments in the chat room that you guys are growing and learning versus what you said, the kind of way you thought when you first came in here, versus how expanded your mind has become over the months since you've been around these other ladies and around me and listened to the videos and stuff. Everybody who comes here grows and changes, and I love that. That's why I do this. There's no other reason for me. We're not talking about getting nothing from nobody or nothing. This is all about building you up to be the best person that you can be, and so that you have the best children that you can have. So then they go out and they're the best people they can be, and they have the best children they can have. And then this will become a thing that empowers and it makes everything better for women generations forward. This is the kind of focus that we have to have. We cannot stay stuck in the past doing everything the same way we used to do it. Times have changed. We don't live in those times anymore. Stuff is different. Technology has changed even the way that we relate to each other. With all this texting and stuff, everything used to take place face to face or person to person. On the phone, at least you hear somebody's voice. Now people don't even use their phones for nothing except for texting. Chat rooms and stuff. So I want you guys to get back in touch with yourselves as women. Be proud of who you are as a woman. Embrace yourself as a woman. And, make sure that you feel your power, because you have it. Don't dull your shine for nobody. Nobody. Don't ever do that to yourself, okay? That's loving yourself, knowing that you're a superstar. Superstar. Thank you guys for coming. Let's see what we got. We got Tuesday coming up. What the Fuck Tuesday will be our advice show, our live stream advice show on Tuesday evening. If you have a question, look in the show description box below and submit your question no later than Monday evening if you think about getting included this week. Love you guys, okay? You go and take care. Love everybody who's around you. I'll see you all on Tuesday. Bye-bye.